Hi guys, Jason here with C4D. Have a quick tip for you. Just want to talk a little bit about the lathe tool. Recently I had to go through and make a water bottle for a project, and I was actually surprised to find that I was uh, not able to find a decent free one on the internet, and it was going to be a quick and painless thing, and it turned into something that became a little bit more work than I anticipated. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and exercise the lathe tool. And so in about 3 minutes time, you can make a really good looking water bottle. And let me see here, I'd like to pull up a clip of the video that I made um, so that it all makes sense to you. So here is the video. And I'm not going to talk about the animation I'm working on, but I can just say that what it is a clip with a box that comes floating down and it has some contents in it, and I just wanted to have a decent looking water bottle. So go over, we lift it up, and voila, we have some water bottles that have all kinds of stuff going on there. And there's a lot of post-processing that'll go into the video to make it look really nice and shiny and everything. But this is generally what we're going to make. So I'm going to kind of show you how to do that. So the easiest thing to do is to start by opening up your viewport. And I'm just going to go from the right. And I like the linear spline just because it's very useful and it gives me the points where I want them. So we're going to go ahead and just grab the spline tool, and like I said, I'm going to use the linear, and I'm going to show you how to make everything soft and smooth, because the name of the game is to try and model it as a quad uh, object. You want to try to avoid triangles if you can. That way when you do your renders, they're just going to come out looking much, much nicer. And this is the lathe tool is just it is what it sounds like. You're going to be able to lathe anything that you can imagine that's symmetrical, circularly symmetrical, and we can also do some fun things without it having to be perfectly circular symmetrical. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to start by just let's start by making the top, and we'll be really quick and kind of blunt with it. So there's, yeah, we'll call that a cap, so to speak. Yeah, that sounds about right. We'll have a lip of some kind over here, and then okay, that's good. I think I accidentally threw an extra one in there. Uh, Uh-oh, I'm throwing a bunch of extras in there. I'm just clicking on the waypoints in point mode, and I'm deleting them if I need to. But I don't really like how that splines her off. Let me try that again. All right, here we go. Cap, bottle top. We'll have the bottle come out. And then naturally, bottles, water bottles in general have their little ribs. So we'll do something like this. A couple of ribs in there. And actually, I think that'll kind of do it. Because what I want to do is show you some other quick ways of going about this. So what we have is we have this spline. Don't worry, it looks hideous. It's going to look great here in a minute. I'm going to hold Control, grab the spline, and drop it. What that's going to allow me to do is come in here, and I want to just keep this portion of the spline. So now I can take this portion of the spline, drag it down, and create several different bumps with it. Now, this is not exactly the way that I would prefer to do it, but it is quick, and quick is always good. So we're just going to drag it down generally around here. We're going to go ahead and create some more of the can. There we go. And then let's just go ahead and drag a couple of these in. Oh boy, here we go. There we go. Alright. Okay, so that'll work. And then one last one. Now you might be saying, why are you doing this like this? Well, it's just kind of my style. Everyone has a different style. This is how I like to do it. I'll take all these, combine them together, Alt-G to create one single null, select the children, and then connect and delete. Now, whenever you're doing that with a, in particular with any splines, they will naturally create a full, a new spline. So now we're going to use another cool tool, which is our weld. I'm going to customize commands under window. I'm going to type in weld because I like to just grab it onto the screen and click it. So I'll weld these. Yeah, let's weld it right here. I'll weld these. All I'm literally doing is using the point mode, selecting them, and then welding. Then we're going to kind of square it up pretty quickly in a fashion that I know works for me pretty well. But let's go ahead and make this a little bit more obvious. So this guy needs to be up at the origin. So we're using the z-axis right now. I'm going to go ahead and go z0. Now we're actually lined up. And the y-axis is our vertical. I want to take the sides and I want to make that a level plane. So we're going to go to 0 on the sides. And then we're going to do the same thing with the z over here. All this is doing is lining some of these items up. And let's kind of bump that out a little bit here. And then here comes the fun part. So we're going to grab all these ribs. We want all of them to be the same length. Or I'm sorry, the same z position in this case. So 0 out that size again, and voila, they're all in line now. We'll do the same thing. So we'll grab all these guys on the outside. There might be someone saying there's an easier way than what I'm doing right here. I just find this to be effective. Same thing, take the Z, we're going to 0 that out. So now these are all in line. The ribs may be a little different size. That's not a problem to me. But if we want to get technical, we can kind of clean up some of this a little. Yeah, some of these don't look great, so let's just do that. Let's do that. Now remember, everything you do here is going to be subdivided. No, we don't need that guy. So, so essentially, you want to make sure that you're happy with it when it's not subdivided. It's kind of look better once we add the subdivision. Okay, so everything's good here. So here's the next trick. I'm going to right-click and create point. So now I'm going to come in, and before we start subdividing everything, I'm going to start getting a couple of points around some of the edges I don't necessarily want to be cleared up completely. So we'll just do this a little bit here, and that'll turn out. Alright, so now here's the next cool little tool that we have. And while I'm at it, let's take that guy at the bottom. Let's make sure that he is also set the z-axis to 0. I'm going to hit Control-A. I'm going to right-click and go to Soft Interpolation. What that's going to do is it's going to smooth out all of these radiuses that we have. Everything now is all smoothed out, except some of these are a little bit more bulging than I want. So I made those a little close, but that's okay. A little bit of fixing and we're all good. Now the beautiful part about using anything in terms of spline for building is you have the option of choosing how much of the spline you really want to use, or if you want to use more of a, you know, a much lower polygon. So we're going to talk about that too. So our spline is done. Now we look at it from the outside. Voila, we have our water bottle half. If you wanted, you probably could model this from an actual water bottle and come out with a really good result. We're going to go up here and select our lathe spline, and all we have to do is drop it in. Boom, there's our water bottle. As quick and simple as it gets right there. So now there are several things along with this though. So we have the option of how many subdivisions we want. Let's go into display and hidden line. How many subdivisions we really want. You can make this a very low polygon model if you like, and then just be able to provide subdivision for it. In our water bottle spline, we can reduce the angular shift, which will then give us basically maximize that entire spline. So every point that it determines it needs to make a turn, it's going to be using. That's not necessary. So we'll kind of bump that up. Let's say normally 45 is what I'm happy with, and I think that will probably work for this model. And then maybe I normally like 12-sided circles. So if I want something to subdivide real clean. Okay, so then once we have that, I'm going to go ahead and select this, select children, current state to object, hide that, label that as water bottle, do a quick test render. Okay, so we have our water bottle. So that's the cool part. You can quickly make any kind of object you want into some sort of any kind of object in a perfect symmetrical fashion. Now you can have fun with this if you wanted. If you know you want to give it some sort of a modifier, for example, I could throw a shear in here, fit it to the parent, and then we can have it kind of contorted and twisted. You can have fun with this stuff, however you want to adjust it. But in this case, all I want is my water bottle. I want a lid, and I want some sort of water. So for the water, specular is always good. Reflection is good. And reduce that a little. Get rid of the color. It'll render much, much faster. And that looks okay. I always like for now. And about 20 to 35 normally is a pretty good setting. A little too much specular in there. Good. And then, of course, we can't forget our refraction. Yeah, let's run about that much. We'll call it a thick water bottle. Okay, so the water bottle itself, I'm going to go ahead and texture. So now, when we look at this, we have this big water bottle that's all textured through. And then what I want to do is take our cap. And if you remember from previous tutorials, our cap, use the UL, will give us our loop tool. I'm going to select that loop, UY, 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 to start building. Actually, no, I don't think we need that much. Let's just call it good here. So we'll do that. We'll select all these guys. Now, if you wanted, you could right-click and disconnect and remove the cap and create the internal housing. I'm not really interested in doing that right now, though. I just want to put the texture onto it. So by selecting the polygon tool and texturing it, now we have a textured lid. So if we want to go and have a little bit more fun with this, we go into a really cool plugin like C4D's Studio. highly encourage you guys get this. It will make anything that you make look 100 times better, especially if you're showcasing anything. This is the product to get. Again, it's C4 Depot's Studio Kit Pro. Get it. I highly recommend it. I'm going to go to Studio Scenes, and I always like a little bit of contrast, but I love lights. And our friends James and Kyle, they know how to make some really great scenes. So I'm going to take our water bottle, drop it into this scene, and they have the replace me object we'll go ahead and get rid of. I personally always like to have my screen set up for a wide angle. Zoom out a little. We do a test render. And it looks like we're a little too transparent. So this is an easy fix. This is actually a good position to be in because we have the model set up, and then we're just gonna do a little bit of tweaking on it. In fact, you know what? Let's just call it some kind of a cool blue kind of drink. That'll help it a little bit there. Give a little bit of coloration, always makes it better. At the same time, we go in. I always like to select edge. It's not necessary for this. We'll call this the water bottle. And we'll subdivide it 3. Yeah, we probably get away with 2 and it'll look just fine. So now we have a lot more reflection off the bottle. James and Kyle's plugin will do the trick, all the magic to it. They add all the lights in that make everything just come together. Now, while this is going through the render, if you ever wanted to do product showcasing, you really need to have some sort of a studio to be able to do that. And out of all of the vendors that I've gone through, James and Kyle just knock it out of the park. So C4Depot.com, you guys be able to get there. And I think they only charge $25 or $30 for the plugin. It's essentially a steal in my eyes. It's absolutely brilliant. Always happy with the results. Anti-lasing, which is fine if you're not moving, but if you want a kind of a zoom in camera flyby, you're going to start getting into a little bit more complicated items, and I normally always live with the best 1x1 and 4x4. Okay, so I sped that up a little bit. So 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and we have a good looking water bottle. So that's the use of the Lathe tool. If you have questions, please comment for me. Happy to help out any way I can. It's a great tool. You'll find a lot of use for it. A lot of objects that you make will probably be round in nature, and so it makes this very, very simple. You can use the tool to make apples, oranges, anything you can think of, and you can split them into sections and adjust your model to get it exactly how you want it. So that's about it for right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, visit C4 Depot for all their cool plugins, and you'll be able to find this model for free underneath their website. Thanks, guys. Visit more of my tutorials under Jason C. Roar 2000.